Should we talk about the game where the two best teams in the country played each other? I think we should.
Yeah, maybe.
I think we should visit that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
All right, we'll get to that in a second. On today's episode of Titus and Tate, we will be covering how the Maui Invitational, the Maui Bump is back, Tate.
It's back. Never left.
All of the teams that we saw in Maui are doing big things in college basketball at the moment. We are also going to have Tate's Pac-12 update, which we put on hiatus because Doug Gottlieb would not shut the hell up.
Never.
We were talking to him.
I can't believe that was our last podcast. I just thought about that today. I learned so much in that amount of time, but I feel like we didn't talk about anything college basketball.
We didn't.
Related.
No. I asked Doug.
Yeah.
You asked Doug, why didn't you go to UCLA? And then the podcast ended after we got done answering the question. No.
And we still not sure other than his sister. No, but we loved it. I learned a lot.
Yeah, we did not do the Pac-12 update on Thursday. So, Tate, we have a lot. Oh, my God. The Pac-12 is heating up. It's cold
Pour
outside.
one out for Kim Palm's like undefeated teams. You know that's all done. R.I.P. that and R.I.P. San Diego State.
We're gonna hit everything going on in the Pac-12. We're gonna hit the wildest Saturday we've had of college basketball yet this year. I said that a few different times. I've said that. Well, when each Saturday is better than the one before it.
You're
was
right.
it not?
It only gets better. It's
the
like
number
wine.
1 team in the country lose.
Yes.
The number 2 team in the country lose.
Yes.
The number 4 team in the country lost. Other
Which
teams
begs
lost.
the question: are any of these teams any good? We're not sure.
All right, before we get started, Tate, I want to give a shout out to. I want to make sure I do this. I was going to do it at the end, but I want to make sure I get it out of the way. The Club Trillion Scholarship that I started. We have our 3 finalists. I want to announce who the 3 finalists are on the show, so that way people can kind of follow along. There's nothing they can do at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say it.
You can't vote. Where
are they? Are they here somewhere? Are they gonna walk out? Bring them in. The price is right.
No. So we had multiple people. We'll just put it that way. We had a lot of people apply for the scholarship. Had to tell a lot of people no. A lot of great candidates.
Yes.
I actually didn't read over the application, so I'm just assuming they were great candidates.
Bill Titus read over those applications. He's like, not good enough.
The committee sorted through it. If you're new to the program, the committee is all former Division I walk-ons themselves. They were voting on the scholarship. And here are 3 finalists. Aiden McQuaid from Colorado. He's one of them. I hope I'm gonna say this right. I'm gonna butcher his name. Onyebuchi Izakudo from Pitt. I actually think I nailed it.
Yeah, I think you did too. Izakudo, yeah.
Onyebuchi Izakudo from Pitt and Tate Clayton.
Wow,
that's from Mississippi State.
Wow, my family name, the Clayton family. That's my dad's mom's maiden name, Clayton. And then
grandma.
My grandma. Yeah. She's no longer with us. Rest in peace. But Clayton family, and then we also have Tate, which is also lineage.
That's your name.
Yeah, that's my name. So wow,
well, there you go, Tate Clayton.
So is this fixed? Is that me under an alias? I think I need a scholarship.
Those are your 3 finalists. I want to give those guys a shout out. Only one is going to win. Only one of them is going to get the $15,000 scholarship. Unfortunately, I can't give it to all of them, but one of them will win. And
when are we going to give it? Can we give it out on the show?
Yeah, we're gonna have the winner.
Okay.
The winner will be on the program.
Okay.
And we're gonna do a big thing. So if you're a Colorado, Pitt, or Mississippi State fan, Colorado's gonna make the tournament, right? So
yeah,
they're fine. But maybe they could win a little more. But if you're a Pitt or Mississippi State fan, you're like, man, I wish I had. I think Mississippi State might make the tournament actually.
Yeah, they may.
Yeah, I think they're on the. I haven't checked. I haven't.
We don't do bracketology here. We just kind of like you tell us. Who
the point is, none of these teams are going to win the title. And if you're a fan of one of these teams,
who's going to go to
win the scholarship?
Who will be in the first 4?
Right. None of these teams. That's what I meant. So none of these teams are going to win the title. But speaking of Colorado, do you want to start with the Pac-12 update, or do you want to talk about the big Monday that we just saw, where your beloved ACC title is now within grasp of the Florida State Seminoles?
Yes, every single year I go in the ACC. It sort of happens in the NFC South in football. Everyone's like, I love the Buccaneers this year. You know what I mean? But you don't really love the Buccaneers. You know they're not probably going to win because, you have the Saints and these other teams. So in the ACC every year, it's like, of course, Duke, North Carolina this year.
Florida State's always a sleeper.
They're always the pick, right? It's like we
sleeper pick.
But like the Seminoles, but they're not going to actually do it.
Right.
And this is the year that they may actually do it because Louisville, as we saw in this game, as soon as you kind of push back against Louisville when things don't go.
Is Louisville the weakest, the most mentally weak team in college basketball? It's unbelievable.
Bill Murray's in the house. You got to play better.
He's bad luck. We have to talk about this.
Maybe.
Bill, I swear, every game I've watched, every Louisville game I've watched where they're not at home, they lose. Jordan Nwora plays like shit, and Bill Murray's at the game and jinxes them. I swear it's every single game. I must have only watched 3 games this year. I
think those are all.
I feel like this happens every single time. Louisville, like you said, it's not that they lost; it's how they lost. It's that they came out playing really well. As soon as a little adversity hits, They fold in half. They are unbelievably mentally weak. It's very concerning. Mike Rutherford is back to not caring about the ACC title anymore.
Yes. Yeah, it's a flip-flop. On Saturday, if they blew out North Carolina, Rutherford's putting out to the world.
It's so frustrating, man,
because
because Louisville is stacked on paper. You see it in flashes that they should be so good, and they're just not. And they have no. I mean, if that game would have if they would have kept playing 10 more minutes for some reason, if the scoreboard, like during a timeout, the score operators would have added 10 minutes just for fun, Florida State would have won by 60. Louisville had thrown in the towel long ago. They were done.
It was basically a 15-0 run from Florida State where they just started throwing alley-oops to each other, and every single time they decided, I guess I can dunk on this possession. Trent Forrest, MJ Walker, all these guys, they're just running on the floor. Patrick Williams, all
baptized Mora. That's the only way we could describe what happened.
We talked about the classic celebration, watch your head. That was all over the place. The Florida State people love it. They were, chanting FSU, which they love. They love that chant in Florida State. They love it. And they got that thing rolling, which is nice. The real big story is that Louisville has Dino Gaudio, and Dino Gaudio is responsible for Wake Forest's collapse in 2005 and in 2009. Both times they were number 1 in the country, just like Louisville is this year. And it all connects. And I don't know what's going to happen because, like you said, Bill Murray's bad luck. Gaudio may be bad luck. We're not sure. We have not confirmed that. But Louisville needs to turn things around. And when adversity hits in the tournament, like it inevitably will, it seems like they will crumble.
They're going to absolutely
They're
fold.
the perfect 2 seed to have in your bracket.
They're going to fold. They always do. I mean, this team is like we saw last year with Duke. That's what started the whole thing.
It's ironic that they are the Cards because they will fold.
They will fold like a house of cards. Yes, that's exactly what they are.
Yes, that's what we're here, folks. Yeah, puns and talking about the ACC. But can we get past the ACC? Does anything else matter?
Can we get to the real conference that matters in this country, which is the Pac-12? Which I want to start with an opening word, and then I know it's your Pac-12 update, but
no.
I just want to say
I
one
love
sentence.
that this started as a punishment, but now it's fun for both of us because the
all in on
Pac-12
it.
matters. Yeah.
I just want to start with an opening sentence, which is the UCLA Bruins, coached by Mick Cronin, have won 5 games in a row and are currently 1.5 game behind the first place in the Pac-12 standings. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to say. That's the only note I have. That's not true, but it is the only note that I put in bold. That's the only one I have in bold here.
Well, I have a better note for you because we have 2 friends of the program that we both adore and love in the world of college basketball. The first one, of course, is Dick Vitale, a.k.a. Dickie V. We all love him. He tweeted, "The wide open Pac-12 has a big matchup between a players program, Arizona versus Oregon, who's also at the time 9-4, 9-5. Obviously, we know that game. We'll talk about that game as part of the update. But he also says Colorado and Arizona State have 4 L's. Hottest team is UCLA men's basketball, who have won 4 in a row, which
It's now 5 in a row.
Yes, now 5 in a
Since
row.
the
This
tweet.
is going into the Saturday games. This is a part of the Pac-12 update. So Tom Henry, his name is Tucson Twitchy is his handle. He responds back, which we love on this program. This is when you connect things together. He goes, Dicky, Dicky, Dicky. How hard is it to look at the conference standings under the heading streak and properly report? Oh, wait, this is the same outfit that employs Mark Schlabach. So I guess properly reporting isn't important. I hate ASU, but have to give them respect.
Who's this? What's the guy's name?
This guy's name is Tucson Twitchy.
And we have him on the phone right now. Is that what
Okay,
we're
let's
saying?
get he actually applied for the scholarship also. He's very upset.
He was the 4th finalist. He was cut. He was the last guy.
So Dickie V comes out and says this. UCLA is the hot ticket, right? Everyone wants to pick up UCLA. Seth Davis comes in after that. He goes, hottest team in the country, UCLA. Book it. We know this.
Yep.
And the Arizona State, the Sun Devils are coming in hard. They're like, Bobby Hurley's doing a great job. They blew out UCLA February 6th, like 84-66. Don't hold me to that. Something like that. Anyways, can
I just point out, it would be hilarious that you've done a shift in your strategy on the podcast that you don't have notes in front of you anymore. You have no notes.
No.
You famously, during Pac-12 updates, when you had notes, would get all sorts of facts wrong. This became part of the Pac-12 update. You just get everything wrong.
Exactly.
It would be beautiful if, your Rain Man over here.
Now I have it. Just because I looked at it.
You're recalling all the games.
84-66, February 6th. Look it up. I think that's the score. That's what happened. Anyways, Dickie V says this. Seth Davis says this. The ASU people are coming in hard. They're like, we've won 6 in a row. We're the best team in the Pac-12. Why do you not respect us? Dickie V, Seth Davis, read all the replies. And then they come back. Seth Davis basically qualifies his whole statement saying, here's exactly what I said. They're not the best, they're the hottest, okay? Not the best, but the hottest. And people obviously were like, okay, thank you, Seth, for clarifying. Dickie V clarifies, comes back, says that there's a lot going on in the Pac-12. A lot of teams contending, right? Oregon's involved, Colorado's involved. People needed this.
Dickie V and Seth Davis are the two that you can just like banter with on Twitter, and you can just
They
catch
come
them
back.
in just like a full loop of like trying to explain themselves. They're like you remember like when people would get the Alexas and they would have the Alexas talk to each other, and there'd just be like back and forth where the Alexas are. That's like Dickie V and Seth Davis on Twitter. You just like set them both up. Set them next to each other, and then just watch them talk to each other.
Yes, and it's a feeder system into content, and this is what we need. And we always talk about how do you connect the tissue between all these characters, right? Mark Schlabach, we call in this program
Release the tapes.
And the pastor rated Mark Schlabach because he was accused of not having these tapes that Sean Miller was apparently had, where he talked about money that was apparently being paid to someone that played at Arizona who happened to be the #1 pick. All in that world, right? So this says, our boy puts it out, Tucson Twitchy responds, and the Arizona State fans are fired up, right? So Arizona State, they have some news coming out about, sanctions and things. Nobody cares.
About, do you want to talk about, I care.
Okay.
Yeah, I care.
Because that was a part of the update on Friday until Doug Gottlieb made it about UCLA.
The
which
update,
tends to be the media thing. The media wants UCLA
The only reason I want to point this out is because I went on a golf trip with our buddy Zach Schwartz,
Yes.
Arizona State alum.
Yes,
I
the
mentioned
shirt
him,
right
I'm
here
wearing
for
the
Zach Schwartz.
Kobe
Yes,
shirt. He's
yes.
the guy who had the tweet about Kobe with the flowers and all that. But he's a good friend of ours. Worked together at the Ringer. He's a big Arizona State guy. He was a manager on the team.
Yes, for Herb Sendek.
We were up in Ojai this weekend golfing, and he brought it. We were talking about this scandal, we want to call it. I think scandal's too strong a word.
Yeah.
There's an Arizona State booster that is sexually harassing or was sexually harassing people, including Bobby Hurley's wife, including an associate athletic director's wife. That associate athletic director was then fired, and now he's suing the school, saying the reason he was fired is because he went to the athletic director, said, "This man is harassing my wife. Do something about it." They said, "Yeah, but he gives us money, so we're not going to do anything about it." There's this whole story. It's bad. It feels like they kind of have it taken care of, whatever. But the noteworthy thing to me was Schwartz, who is sort of plugged into the scene. He said to me when he saw the story, he knew exactly who the guy was. And then he read the story, and it was actually a different guy.
Which is never good. That's never good.
So apparently there's like multiple people, and like Schwartz was like, I was certain it was this guy, but it was actually a different guy, which makes me really worried that this other guy. There are multiple Arizona State boots. That was the Pac-12 update note.
But again, they've won 6 games in a row, and they beat UCLA.
But oh my God, they're in first place by themselves. So that's great.
Yeah, they beat 84 to 66. We always have to bring that up because UCLA fans, right? They're very excited about this whole new run, which gets us to UCLA, right?
Yep.
The darlings of the media. Everyone is right there with Mick Cronin. They're like, he's got this team playing defense. They had 0 turnovers in the second half against Colorado on Saturday. 0 turnovers.
0.
And if you watch UCLA play this year, that seems like the most made up. Like if you told us in December when we saw them playing against North Carolina at the CBS Classic, if you came up to us and said UCLA against a ranked team will have 0 turnovers in the second half, I probably would have bet my life that's impossible.
Yeah.
Like an impossibility. But it's not because Mick Cronin has these guys buying in now.
The power of negative thinking, right?
You would have thought.
When you get threatened to be murdered that many times in a row by your coach, you're like, I'm going to stop turning the ball over.
Yeah, you break them down and then you build them back up. And apparently UCLA is built back up, that is more news in the Pac-12. Again, Arizona State, the hottest team, not the best team. UCLA, maybe the best team, also hot, but not the hottest.
But not in the tournament quite yet.
Yes. So that's where we are.
But also, Oregon has the best player and is also hot.
Yes, because they are also getting crunch time and overtime. This is their 5th overtime win. They like to win in overtime.
Right. But then Arizona is literally the hottest because Sean Miller sweats on the sidelines.
Yes,
all the time.
He is absolutely sweating.
A lot of hot teams in the Pac-12. I have the standings in front of me, Tate.
Please,
are you ready? Let's go through them. Arizona State 10-4, first place by themselves.
Yes.
There's a 3-way tie for second between Colorado, Oregon, and the UCLA Bruins, the aforementioned UCLA Bruins, at 10-5. They're a half game back. And Arizona is 9-5. So a full game back is Arizona of Arizona State. But we have a lot of action this weekend. We have you and I. Are we committing to going to both these games?
I think we are. Yes.
UCLA is hosting the Arizona schools.
Yes.
USC is also hosting the Arizona schools, but USC, who cares? Arizona State at UCLA on Thursday. So that's first place versus tied for second place, and then Arizona is at UCLA on Saturday. Wow. It's happening.
This is
still a lot of basketball left to be played.
The battle for the hottest team in the Pac-12 will be this Thursday night, and we will be there. We will be in the building. We will be able to report firsthand who is, in fact, the hottest. Bobby Hurley, Mick Cronin, who will get more upset, who will sweat more, who will yell more. We don't know. Bobby Hurley, my favorite gif on Twitter of all time of anyone is Bobby Hurley. He's yelling at the ref. The ball gets hit over. It claps him, knocks him out. He goes down, and you can tell the ref is just like, thank God. Like, this guy got knocked out, and then he gets helped up. He's like, appreciate it. But like for a split second, Bobby Hurley's not happy at all. But he is doing great right
Speaking
now.
of Hurley's, did you see that Bobby Hurley's brother, Dan Hurley,
yes.
has been subpoenaed by Kevin Ollie?
Yes, it was handed to his house. Yeah, you got served at your house.
You got served. He literally got served at his house by Kevin Ollie for the Kevin Ollie arbitration he's going through with UConn because UConn fired him and they said we have cause, and then everyone said what's your cause, and then we all got to make the joke of it's cause he sucks at coaching basketball, and you remember the story.
Yeah. That was a good cause. I think a lot of people were like, I don't know, Kevin.
Apparently that whole lawsuit's going on. It's fascinating. I can't get a read on what people think should happen, because in my mind, like, yeah, of course Kevin Ollie broke some rules. He's a college basketball coach. Like, you can't blame a fish for swimming. You know what I mean? Like, for God's sakes, what are we doing here? Pay the man. That was my stance. But then you go on Twitter and people seem to be split. Like, even UConn fans seem to be split as to what should happen. Like, whether Ollie should be paid the money he was owed, or if he did breach his contract, whatever. As it's going back, tug of war, Ollie's like, you know what? I'm going to introduce Dan Hurley into this mix, because Dan Hurley was the Rhode Island coach as I was going through all this. I don't know.
But also, he's getting paid by the school. He's getting my money. I think that's what Kevin Ollie said. He's not trying to pocket watch, but he is also saying, like, you got my money, and I need that. And I need that right now, because that's my money. And Dan Hurley's over there, like, taking charges on the sideline. He's like, this is your man's? Like, this is the guy that's taking – this man's taking charges. I'm out here winning national championships, and this is what I'm dealing with. So I think Kevin, pay the man. Give him his money. He deserves it. This is the Pac-12 update. We've gotten to UConn.
Well, yeah, that's how the Pac-12 update works.
It's always good.
Do you want to talk about the other teams of the Pac-12, the last undefeated team in college basketball?
Yes, because, again, this was a big day for us, because we had talked about going into the weekend, for the listeners that don't know. We were going to go to this game. We were going to go down to San Diego State. We were going to watch this undefeated team soar into the annals of college basketball history. And what did they do, Mark Titus? They did what a West Coast basketball team does.
No.
They put up a dud.
They ran out of time is what they did. They ran out of time. They did not lose.
Why?
They were coming back.
Why?
And
we didn't even talk about it, because we were like, we don't want to jinx them. We don't want to put the pressure on them. You know, these guys, they got a lot going on.
Gottlieb talked about it. We came on the show. He's like, you guys need to go to a game there. We're like, well, we're thinking about it. And then he has the audacity to, like, put it on us that we jinxed him. Like, we weren't going to talk about it. And then he's the one who brought it up. And then now it falls on us.
Yeah,
we're still going, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we're still going tomorrow night.
I still have to be convinced. Like,
I'm going to see how I feel tomorrow morning.
To me, they went from a 1 seed to a 3 seed. And then I still see bracketologists. Again, not a bracketologist. I want to put that out there. I see the bracketologists still have them as a 1 seed because they lost 1 game. I don't buy it. I'm not buying it. They're a 3 seed. You know Duke is the 1 seed in the East.
Yeah, I mean,
admit it.
I feel like whatever their resume says, the committee is licking their lips.
Condoleezza Rice is not. She watched that game.
They're licking their lips at the opportunity to give San Diego State a 4 seed or a 3 seed.
Yes.
I was very disappointed. I think this was a game where you talk about when people talk about how, like, teams should lose before it's not good to go into the NCAA tournament undefeated. A game like this is why, because you're watching the last 5 or 6 minutes. San Diego State is panicking like crazy. They are not playing. I mean, it was mind blowing. They were playing like they were down 10 with a minute to go.
I love that you were about to say they were not playing Aztec basketball.
It really was.
They have an identity that we understand. We're like, this is not Aztec basketball. This is not. These are not our guys. What is going on, Malachi? Let's figure this out. You're playing Cougar basketball, Malachi.
Yeah.
Come back.
No, but they were like panicking like crazy. Matt Mitchell was like out of control. It was unbelievable. And I was thinking to myself, like, it was pretty clear that they weren't trying to just stay the course and win the game, and they were very clearly like, shit, we're gonna blow this undefeated season. Yes. They were not playing to win; they were playing to not lose. Whatever the terminology was, it was very clearly like they had a different vibe about.
For the kids at home, you play to win the game.
Yes. And I think this is what you talk about, because, like, when you go to the NCAA tournament and you're undefeated, you do have the extra. You can say as much as you want that, like, you're trying to win every game in the NCAA tournament, just like you are trying to win every other game. But if you're undefeated, there is the extra pressure. It's like, shit, we've come all this way. We can't blow it now, right? But yeah, you can. It's good. Get it out of the way. Blow it now. And then now you can. Now we can proceed.
I think they need one more loss. I think this was.
You think they need one more?
This was a good loss because, again, they were down and then they made a nice little comeback. Because, again, I sent you the screenshot of the score because, again, we were planning to go to the game on Tuesday. So I'm like, of course, let me check in on this. You know, CBS Sports. Hard to find the CBS Sports channel that they were on. But anyways, pulled up my phone, look it up. I'm like, wow, of course, it's going to be an L. But then they make a nice little. I turned it on and they make a nice little run, and I'm like,
they were making a nice run. It was just like,
hold up. I understand Aztec basketball.
They were simultaneously making a nice run, but also panicking. Like their nice run was spearheaded by, playing great defense. It was really by panic. They were like pressing, and then they weren't playing New Mexico. I'm sorry, UNLV was blowing it. They couldn't make a shot.
Mitru Long.
So that was helping the matters. But then when San Diego State would get the ball, they were also like panicking on offense.
Yes.
So it was just full blown panic, and it helped them come back.
My friends, is the Pac-12 update. Yeah. That is Pac-12 basketball. It is it's a
full blown panic.
It's a rush, and no one really understands what's going to happen in the end because all these teams are jumbled up together.
Yeah. Mitru Long said, I did see this quote afterwards. He did the interview with Andy Katz. That's like the interview. There's a post game interview on Skype with Andy Katz, the new like gym dance tie. That's the regular season gym dance tie. I think if you find yourself at the end of the night doing a Skype interview over grainy video,
on data,
with Andy Katz,
your teammate,
you're like the player of the day.
Yes,
like congratulations, you win. So Mitru Long's doing the interview, and he said we match up well with them, and that stood out to me because you can make the argument that San Diego State didn't actually lose; it was just a bad matchup, and you throw that out, that doesn't count as their resume.
Okay, so they're still undefeated.
They're still undefeated.
Okay,
is where I stand on this.
We'll map that out.
And they also ran out of time. They were coming back. They would have won. They just ran out of time. That's
still undefeated in the Pac-12, as is the other team that we're going to talk about right now, which is the Gonzaga Bulldogs, undefeated in the Pac-12. And they had a game going into this where our heart was split. This is heart divided on this program because we do love one program, and we learned this in Maui, and we love one coach. And his name, he's the young Pope, and he's Mark Pope, and he has Jake Toulson and all these guys fired up. They're wiry characters, but they also didn't have Yoli Childs in Maui. So we knew this wasn't the fully formed BYU team, but they were also getting chippy. They were also learning how to lose. They were also coming together as a team. Mark Pope speaks in front of the Maui crowd, and he gets his team to answer, like, what do we need to do, guys? And they're like, rebound. And it's a beautiful thing. And Bill Self's like, I wish I get my team to say anything in unison, you know? And that was what we learned about BYU. We're like, oh, this is a real team. And then they show up. They beat Gonzaga. I'm not sure it matters, but it made me believe
BYU. It matters. BYU is legit. Childs makes them great.
He's the Brandon Davies of this new generation.
I'll say this. I cannot remember a time when I can't even finish the joke. Oh God!
You cannot remember the time when
I'll finish the joke. I can't finish the joke. My mom would be very mad at me.
Laura,
I was gonna make
Laura,
it. I was
right
okay.
now.
Here's the joke.
Laura,
Here's the joke. Here's the joke. You ready? You fill it. I didn't say the joke.
Okay.
I'm giving you the pieces. If you're listening at home, construct the joke as you see fit.
Fill in the blank.
The joke is a Pope was excited to see Childs. That's the joke.
Boom. I mean.
There's a joke in there.
The joke has been filled. Great job.
And there we go. We love Mark Pope. Pope in Maui, not just the way he coaches the team, but in terms of the sets he's running for Toulson and Hawes and just the way BYU is fundamentally sound, as you might expect.
Yeah. Cougar basketball, as we like to call it on this program.
We love his personality. We love in the post-game press conference. They lose. Who did they lose to? They lose to Kansas, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. They lost to Kansas, or they lose to Dayton. I don't remember.
I think they lost to Dayton, actually.
They did lose to Dayton.
As I
they lost to
Dayton.
Dayton.
Back in my mind, yes.
And
because we had Anthony Grant. It was two great press conferences for a losing team and a winning team.
But the way Pope just like carries himself was so impressive to us. He was so much fun at the luau before the whole event. He was very personable, very just outgoing. He seemed like you and I were both we fell in love with him. We knew nothing about the guy before we got there, and we fell in love with him. And then they beat Gonzaga Tate, and he goes to the local bar. He picks up a $1,600 tab for all the student section. Did you see this?
No, I didn't. I did not. No.
Yeah, this
but
is
I
the thing.
totally believe it.
After the game,
he
goes.
Said anything that Mark Pope did after this game. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like.
And then I saw the video. He said he got a brand new custom suit made for the game, and then he got doused in water, and he was worried that he ruined his suit. So, but that's okay, Mark.
It's okay, Mark.
You'll get some sort of bonus.
This is a program win, a signature win. These are the things that we count up on this program, of things that keep you around. Shaka Smart's looking for them everywhere, scrambling around. Mark Pope got one against Gonzaga, and it seemed like the Gonzaga team at one point was kind of just like tip of the cap. I mean, this is a good BYU team. They're playing at home. They're fired up. I've never seen the rage and energy in fans like at the BYU game. And I say that as both a compliment and both of, I don't know if I need to go there to a game anytime soon because these kids are fired up.
How do they do it?
I don't know. It's like their head's going to explode. I'm like, let's.
Dude, are they doing the acid that Grand Canyon doing?
No,
is it in the?
This is clean.
But I know like the Mormons. That's what
fun.
I'm asking because like the Mormons, you can't do like all these drugs, but like. Is there a synthetic drug that is not in the golden tablets? Is that the idea? Is that like...
It's called caffeine, and we're lit.
That you're like they have the set rules of what you're not allowed to do. So let's like figure out a drug that does not fit in those set rules, and let's do that, and then let's get it rocking.
We're chomping gum. We're slapping floors.
We're chomping,
and we're coming for you. Watch out, Zags.
Two pieces of fruit stripe get you going.
They're wild, man.
They are. That's what I'm saying.
It was good.
Anytime college kids get that rowdy.
They're by far my favorite Pac-12 crowd. We'll say that. Just put that down. My favorite Pac-12 crowd.
Anytime college kids get that rowdy and you're telling me they're not doing any drugs, like I'm trying to figure out like what's going on here. There's got to be something going on here.
Yes.
What's
belief
going on?
in Jake Toolson.
That's what it is.
That's all it is. And Jake Toolson, he said that they're here and they're ready to play. So congratulations.
I had a bit of trivia for the Pac-12. This is a real Pac-12, not West Coast Pac-12, actual Pac-12. Washington, as of this recording, Washington is ranked 57th on KenPom. Washington, you might remember, dead last in the Pac-12, 3-12, I believe.
Yes.
The wheels have completely fallen off for Washington.
Still behind Washington State. That's part of the update.
They are higher in KenPom by 29 spots. They are 29 spots higher on KenPom than UCLA, who is
Oh, here we go.
Poster just fell.
Yeah. If you're listening, we're good.
Washington is ranked 57th on KenPom as of this recording. UCLA is 86th. USC is 61st. And Washington is 57. They are only 2 spots behind Arizona State, who is 55, who is in first place by themselves. That is the state of Pac-12 basketball. The team that is 3-12 actually might be better than the team that is in first place by themselves.
A return to the mean. Yeah, let's all get in the middle. Let's all be average, and let's all see who's the most average at this point in time. And that is what Pac-12 basketball is, the beauty of it at some point. It's also why it can be taxing at times. But Bill Walton is very jacked up about the Pac-12, the state of the Pac-12, about UCLA being back, which I have to bring this all back. If UCLA makes the tournament, this is one of the biggest. It's
the greatest story in sports.
I mean, it might be. It might be the most shocking turn of events. It may show how bad college basketball is, because basically Mick Cronin convincing UCLA to just simply play defense. That's all he had to do. He was like, just please try on defense, and I promise you something good will happen. And he was right.
I'm very excited for Mick Cronin to be.
All I can think about Bob Knight yelling at the Indiana crowd, defense.
Defense, man!
That's what UCLA is doing. That's what Mick Cronin's been yelling at this team every day in practice.
Bob Knight had no microphone, and he tried to silence the entire crowd. He waves his hands. He's like, shut up. And then he honestly, in his head, thought, when I yell defense, it's going to reverberate throughout the entire arena.
Defense. It kind of did in my mind.
Oh, God. I had one other note. It was that Trace Tinkle, son of Wayne Tinkle, head coach at Oregon State, was ejected from the Arizona game at Arizona this past weekend, or it was last Thursday. Was throwing bows. And I noticed in the post-game press conference, Sean Miller said that what was his quote? What did he call it? He said it was a common move back in the day. He described it as a common move. Sean Miller, you might remember, played at a school called Pittsburgh, which you might remember.
Old Big East.
Was in the Old Big East. So I like that from Sean Miller, bringing the Old Big East back, saying that Trace Tinkle should not have been ejected. That was just an Old Big East. That's a play on in the Old Big East.
Yeah, you don't know basketball if you think that's not.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
Any other things in the Pac-12 update we need to hit?
No, I got one thing that's about KenPom that I want to say for after the break.
All right. Well, we'll take a break. We're going to come back and talk about the should we talk about the game where the 2 best teams in the country played each other? I think we should.
Yeah, maybe.
I think we should visit that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
All right. We'll get to that in a second. Before we get to the Kansas-Baylor game, I do want to do this. I forgot to do...
we will never talk about this game. In fact, for all the Baylor fans, just turn it off right now. We're never going to get to this game.
No, we are.
Kidding. We're gonna
I forgot to... I wanted to do this with the Pac-12 thing, and then
is Scott Drew a good coach? We're going to figure that out.
I printed off... I Googled Pac-12 headlines... I Googled Pac-12 basketball, clicked on the news tab, and then I ripped some headlines for you.
Now you're understanding the Pac-12.
Yes.
This
and I thought it was hilarious. So I wanted to read these headlines. I usually
have my computer here.
Because the LA Times said, UCLA quickly transforming into one of the Pac-12's most feared teams.
Yes.
SI, the Pac-12 said, their headline said, Pac-12 basketball notebook. Does anybody want to win this thing?
No. No.
Pac12.com says Pac-12 introduces new flex pass for the 2020 men's basketball tournament. That's exciting stuff in the Pac-12.
Yes.
And then
let me use my reflexes and not go.
And then Googling Pac-12 basketball turned up this headline. The Pac-12 finally has 12 football head coaches for now.
for now.
So those are the headlines in Pac-12 basketball.
Pull
I
up
meant to do
Pac-12.
that at the Pac-12.
Who's leaving the Pac-12 next? We'll find out next week.
Let's talk about the Kansas-Baylor game. Kansas beats Baylor at Baylor.
Yes.
Baylor's 23-game winning streak is snapped. Kansas solidifies their position as the best team in college basketball. They have been all year.
All year. Yeah, we just didn't want to put the pressure on them. Have been the best.
Like we said, the Maui bump is coming to fruition. Let's revisit who was in Maui. Tate. We have Kansas, who is the number 1 team in the country now.
Okay, yeah,
and has been the best team all year.
Yeah.
We have Dayton, the only team in the country that has not lost in regulation.
Maybe the 3rd best team behind Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have not lost in regulation. They're the only team in the country now, other than San Diego State, which
doesn't count.
Doesn't count. It doesn't count.
Bad matchup.
BYU, who's the hot new thing.
Yes,
They're
young Pope.
They're coming up.
Yeah.
UCLA, who's the real, like, the greatest story in sports. Then we have Georgia, who, did you see Anthony Edwards dunk on Vanderbilt?
Yes.
Do you know Georgia's in 3rd place in the SEC right now?
I do know that. I mean,
I'm joking. That's not true.
I was gonna say, like, I do know that they won a game. I think I was gonna say I don't know what they are in the rankings, and we also know that they should have lost to Chaminade.
I think they're like next to last. I think they're like next to
Georgia
last.
should have lost to Chaminade.
Yeah, they should have.
They won 80-77. Again, don't check the facts, but on somewhere, let's say November 27th, they lost or they won 80-77.
Right.
Hit a 3 to win the game, and Tom Crean acted like they won by 30 points.
Yeah, he did.
For the record, and they're 3rd in the SEC.
Michigan State, Virginia Tech got smoked by Duke. Chaminade's actually undefeated. Did you know that? In NAIA? I just made that up.
Oh, I hope so.
I love that every time I say
Go
this.
Silver Swords. I mean, honestly,
you have to look like you believe anything.
Maybe. I got no notes. I don't know.
But yeah, the Maui bump is back. Kansas is the best team in the country, Tate. Azubuike has established himself as he's suddenly getting Player of the Year buzz from not just from this one game, maybe from just this one game.
Well,
I don't know. He's having a great year, obviously, but like
for the Player of the Year, and Azubuike, we know him. He's a familiar character, and in fact, he gave the perfect message to the haters, which was basically like, I hear all the noise, I hear all these people trying to say I can't move my feet. You think I can't move my feet? You think I can't shuffle my feet? Watch me shuffle my feet. Which to me, I say, I'm pretty sure those are all the coaches just telling you that the other people are saying you can't move your feet. But he listened to them. He did it. He moved his feet. He got a lot of rebounds, had 19 rebounds, had a great game, and we learned why the pick and roll works.
Yeah, because he set a ball screen in the middle. I love this. This was my favorite takeaway from this entire game was like the discourse in college basketball, the understanding. We need Gottlieb back in here so he can roll his eyes with us at the X's and O's of all this.
Yes.
The understanding of schemes in college basketball is at the bar is so low that Bill Self setting ball screens in the middle versus on the side has like is blowing everyone's minds. That's all the talk about this game is how Bill Self is playing chess. Scott Drew is playing with his food or something because like he was so much smarter than Scott Drew in this game. And really it boils down to Baylor's defense is literally called no middle defense. They say we are going to not let you get in the middle. Kansas tried to set ball screens in the first game. It was not working. They were downing / icing, whatever you want to call it. So Bill Self's
It's called icing.
Bill Self's solution to not being able to set ball screens in game 1 was, what if against the no middle defense we start in the middle, and then that way the no middle has to allow us to be in the middle, and everyone's like,
yes,
brilliant, Bill. That's brilliant. And it actually was. It's just like not like we were watching the game tonight at Oklahoma State and Holly Rowe.
Yeah, had like a Skype session with Bill Self being like, now, Bill, how do we do this?
And Bill's looking at her like, what are you talking about? We said fucking ball screens in the middle. Like, what are you
like, look, old boy, Devin, he calls him up here, set a little screen here,
we watched film,
roll the basket here.
We watched film for 2 minutes, and we realized, that's going to be wide open the entire game. That's basically what happened was they just when you're a defense that says we're not going to let anybody go in the middle, and then Kansas is like, well, watch this, we'll just dribble the ball in the middle to start the possession. Then Baylor looks at the sideline and says, Scott, what do we do? And Scott's like,
He's like, lose. Guys, 23 in a row. We've had a great run. Let's wrap this thing up.
So Baylor and Kansas are now tied atop the Big 12. Scott Drew has never won. I assume Baylor hasn't either. Scott Drew has never won a Big 12 regular season or tournament title. He's never made a Final Four. I want this streak to continue so badly because this would be so perfect if Baylor has like a season for the ages, a season where they're the number 1 team for a long time, where they're so good, and yet the Scott Drew streak continues of him not actually winning anything, and then we can continue to ask, is he a good coach? I don't know. We need more time.
Well, the best thing that he did in this game was he didn't make any adjustments. So the good news is that maybe, just maybe in the tournament, if they play each other in championship, he can make those adjustments, and then they can win the tournament, and he gets one of those championships.
I'm getting some serious 2014 Florida vibes from
Baylor.
Yeah, we're like, that's not even an insult.
Yeah.
What's funny is bet some people probably took that as an insult. It's not an insult. Florida's the best team that entire season in 2014. They lost in the Final Four. They made the Final Four. That'd be a great year for Baylor. But like if you look back on the 2014 Florida team, their best players were like Casey Prather and Scotty Wilbekin, and I think Finney Smith was on the team, but he came off the bench. They did not have.
This was the Showalter discount double check year, right?
Yeah. They had Michael Frazier, your guy.
Yeah,
your cousin. Yeah. He was also on that team. Their only losses, they lost at Gamble Pavilion. They played UConn. They lost on a buzzer beater. I want to say it was Shabazz hit it. I think it was probably Shabazz. Yeah, because he had the bum ankle. Shabazz hit it with the bum ankle, and then they lost at Wisconsin, who was also Final Four team that year, and then they lost to UConn again in the Final Four. The point is, they had like an unbelievable season. They went to the Final Four. They went 18-0 in the SEC, and they are going to be forgotten in time. Like as time progresses, no one is ever going to look back on 2014 Florida and be like, that's a hell of a college basketball team. I feel like the same thing's going to happen to Baylor because they don't have any guys that are going to be in the NBA in 7 years that you would say like that guy's an NBA player. And you're going to look back on this season when they go 36 or 35-3 or whatever it is their final record, and you're just gonna be like, I'm not impressed.
Yeah, and transfers aren't as sexy as like a Perry Ellis or any of these other guys like they had back in the day, Quincy AC, where you just kind of like knew these Baylor faces, and you were like, I can't believe that guy plays at Baylor. What a fascinating situation this year. I mean, obviously we know the names. We know the.
You said Perry Ellis. You meant
Perry Jones.
Perry Jones, yeah.
But Perry Ellis is a clothing brand, and maybe they should sponsor the show because obviously, without notes, on the top of my mind.
Yeah.
Perry Jones, Quincy AC, all great guys that went to Baylor back in the day. Like you said, there's no face for this Baylor team other than Scott Drew. We all know Scott Drew is on the line of being good or being great or being whatever. He also is at a point where he's got to get over the hump. So this is a Final Four type year. I think if they made the Final Four, people will remember, which is interesting by the Florida team that people don't remember.
They don't.
Them,
well, because
they
had the. Yeah, it was a weird thing because
2014 was a bad tournament.
They did back-to-back Elite Eights. I want to say with that same core, like the Patrick Young.
Patrick Young, the strongest man in college basketball.
Wilbekin, Young, and Prather, I think, were the three seniors, and they went to like 3 straight Elite Eights, and then they finally made the Final Four. But it was also like kind of a choke job because they should have like Boatwright put the clamps on Wilbekin. I remember this very vividly, obviously, because I was heartbroken. I love that Florida team. But it was sort of a choke job in the sense that you felt like it was inevitable that they were going to win the thing because like UConn was not a highly seeded team. Kentucky was not a highly seeded team.
Yeah, Kentucky was like an 8 seed or something.
Right.
Like that.
So the Final Four had opened up and it was like this is Florida's to lose, and then they blew it, and I think that's probably part of it. But I don't say that as a bad thing with Baylor. I just say like, man, that would really suck if that's what the destiny is. Is like Kansas is now what's the word usurp them?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, let's just say that usurped.
Kansas has usurped them as the top team in the country and the top team in the Big 12. So there's like
in the general public's opinion of the situation.
Are you saying they're not?
In the Maui opinion of the situation.
The man who literally tweeted Kansas is the best team in the country. You're going back on that now?
I know. I said Kansas is the best team in the country.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So Baylor.
I'm saying I never had Baylor above Kansas.
Oh, you know.
Baylor was never in front of Kansas, regardless. I mean, I love Baylor. Happy they were the 1 seed in the country. Congratulations. Yeah. They're actually the new Wake Forest of the mid-2000s. If you really think about it. Baptist school, #1 seed in the country, but also it's gone. You know what I mean? It's gonna, and that's how it's gonna roll.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope they win something.
I
hope they win the Big 12. Yeah. I hope they hang on because they still have to play at West Virginia. Kansas still has to go to Texas Tech. So who knows? Hopefully Baylor can get at least a sliver.
Kansas has turned the corner.
I just flipped on it. I said I don't want them to win anything. Now I do because if they don't win anything, they're going to be forgotten about, and I don't want this team to be forgotten about because they're a lot of fun.
Never forget. All we want is Bill Self standing on the stage, winning the championship, saying "Thank you, Adidas. Thank you, Kansas."
With Paul Rudd. Rudd's plan.
Yeah.
Get the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, we still want this. We still want Bill Self at the top. There's still a chance. A big chance.
What else do we have to talk about?
Well, I mean, that was the biggest news. Honestly, we didn't do it justice that was such a big game because it was an inspiring game.
Here's a question for you.
Yes.
Who's the best player on Kansas? Where do you stand on this now?
I mean, it's definitely Dotson. I think he's the best player on Kansas. But I'm an Agbaji guy. You know what I mean? Like, I love Agbaji.
The Nojal Eastern of Kansas.
Yeah. So maybe, but I would say Dotson. I still think Dotson should be the one considered in the race for National Player of the Year, even though I don't think anyone on Kansas is really in the race for National Player of the Year. It's kind of like, they're here, so they need to have a guy.
Yeah, they're going to have like 2 first-team All-Americans, and neither one are taken seriously as player
real
of the
contenders.
Yeah. I think I'm a Dotson guy too, but Azubuike was,
I like his MO.
What do you have,
like
23 and 19 or something like that?
I like he's upset.
Was that his stat line?
That's what we need.
Yeah, I really like that. So should we do like a quick recap of where we stand with the player of the year? Where do you stand?
Well,
Toppin's winning it.
Yes,
obviously.
of course. Yeah.
But who else? Like
Peyton Pritchard's done a good job of repackaging his case to be in the discussion, right? I mean,
Yeah, I
this
think
big
so.
moment, this big stage, gets a nice win. People are
against
talking
Nico,
about
nonetheless. Like Arizona's the big brand, and
Nico.
yeah.
Yeah, against Nico, everyone wants to stop Nico. Anyways,
How dare you?
Can we go back?
How
to the
dare
Pac-
you?
Are we already back in the Pac-12? Yeah. So I guess Peyton Pritchard, that's an exciting run. People are excited about it. Azubuike, like you said, entered the race, but like, there's no one that's really
Garza is like people are turning
Miles
on
Powell.
Garza.
We talked about before.
People are turning on Garza because Iowa isn't winning quite as much. They're still winning, but
Yeah.
not quite as much. I think the secret is out that team plays zero defense whatsoever, and Garza himself plays zero defense. So
The
like,
Marquette
he puts up great
fans,
stats.
by being so abrasive, they've turned
Yeah.
people away to Marcus Howard.
Marquette fans are holding all sorts of media people at
They're
gunpoint.
so mad right now. They're like, "We did not do this. You did this." No, we're kidding.
All the media that love Marcus Howard are being held at gunpoint by Marquette fans.
yes, tweet it. Tweet on the
You
best.
will tweet it. But yeah, it's interesting because Kansas might have Fran Fraschilla was hitting this point tonight a lot that they might have the best point guard and the best center in college basketball, and I feel like for me the only two guys the only point guard that I like better than Dotson is maybe Peyton Pritchard, and the only big guy I would like better than Azubuike is maybe Garza. Garza doesn't really play defense. Azubuike does play defense. As long as it's not a ball screen. He's gotten better. He's gotten better at that, though.
As long as someone calls him out for not moving his feet,
Yeah, right.
Then he will play defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whoever put that together, that package, whoever showed that to him before that game, genius. Great job.
So yeah, Kansas, like this is I've been consistent with this. You've also been consistent with this. We think they're the best team in the country. We have all season. Since we saw them in Maui, they passed the airport test with flying colors. They are extremely long. They have, if they do have the best point guard and best center, or if a second best point guard, second best, whatever it is, they also play the best defense in the country. They've played by far the hardest schedule in the country. I don't know. It seems to me that Kansas is pretty clearly the best team, and that's where I've arrived.
And DeSouza's going to come back,
That is
true.
true.
I mean, like, he did.
And all of this has happened.
Yeah, he's like, he got a 12-game suspension, and he's going to be back for the tournament. So Kansas is going to get better. And I think that's really the takeaway, is that Kansas is really good. Kansas will get better. And Kansas is the best team in the country.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
What other games we need to hit? Do we need to talk about Penn State blowing two? Penn State,
No.
I did the I feel partly responsible for this. I did the fake rant
Support,
where I
yes.
turned to the camera.
Yeah. Did they follow you, by the way? Did it work?
It was semi-successful. I got a lot of traction from Penn State people, like Penn State accounts, like the Penn State Big Ten Network account, the Penn State Barstool account, or like whatever, all these little like affiliated Penn State, unaffiliated but still affiliated accounts. But the Penn State Hoops account itself did not bite, so I feel like it was a failure for that reason. But the point is, I did the rant. I said Penn State is a national title threat or Final Four threat, whatever. They then lost to – they were ranked 9th in the country, highest ranking since 96, highest ranking ever, but they also had a 96. And then they lost 2 games to unranked teams back-to-back.
Well, look, sometimes when you rise, you have to fall. And I think with that team, the Nittany Lions, of course, I'm talking about a team that we both love. Pat Chambers, a coach that we respect. I think this is probably the best that they could have hoped for.
Great season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great season. I mean, what do you want? I mean,
hang the banner.
You're having a good year, and it'll be fine. You got a tournament coming up.
Did you see? And they played IU at Assembly Hall. I forget what game that was. It was Saturday. I think it was Saturday.
They're in
Saturday.
right now.
IU's definitely. Come on, man.
Come on.
They're definitely in. Yeah. It was like a 10 seed.
It's a lot.
I'm not a bracketologist. Did you see Archie punch the clipboard out of his assistant's hand?
Yes, we were told to bring this up because Archie Miller, I mean, both the Millers, honestly, they do such a good job, being a show themselves. And I think in college basketball, like, the coaches are the shows. They are the talent. They are the people that people are locking in on. And both those guys deliver, if not by accident, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, what's the beauty of both? And like, Archie is actually so invested. Sean is so invested that anything can happen. In fact, punching a board is possible.
Yeah.
On live TV.
It conjured up the Bob Knight. He should have done that against Purdue. He really should have. I don't have a problem with it. A lot of people are upset.
This is
about
what we talk about marketing and branding and like having guys in the room. If you're in that room, you tell Archie when Bob Knight comes back and yells defense in the crowd, you yell defense harder. You yell defense louder.
A lot of people were upset because we live in a soft society and people don't like it when coaches get up. Like, I mean, we live the same people that were like crying when Tom Izzo yelled at Aaron Henry, and then they asked Aaron Henry how he felt, and he was like, I don't know. And then Aaron Henry like balled out right after that, and yeah, that was the whole thing. For all we know, Tate, this might have been orchestrated. For all we, if you watch the video, the coach is like holding the clipboard in a very like karate teacher coaching, teaching third graders how to do karate.
Grasshopper.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was holding it perfectly to be punched out. It very well could have been orchestrated, and I am of the opinion that maybe it was. Maybe Archie turned to his guy and was like, "It was a Jason Kidd. I'm going to spill the
He's like,
the
I'm going
ice."
to punch that board.
Yeah, there was some Norman Dale like telling the ref, "Give me a tech." It was Jason Kidd. I'm going to spill the ice. Like a lot of shenanigans going on the sidelines. He told his assistant, "Hold the board. I'm going to punch it and get the guys going." That's what he did, and now IU's rolling, and there we are.
I will say, if you think your coach is a guy that's not fired up and he's worried about facilities all the time, he's worried about ping pong tables and things like that. As soon as he punches the board where he's been drawing up plays, like you got to be fired up.
We got to get Bill Titus's take on this.
Oh yeah,
but I think I already know his
He's
take.
back in on IU.
I think
he's like, look, Mark,
like,
that's the IU fire we've been talking about for the past 20 years. I didn't see it with Samson, I didn't see it with Creed, but I'm seeing it with Archie.
And then he takes a deep breath and he goes, "Now, Devontae Creed."
Let's get back to basketball. Let's get back to the real stuff.
Can we talk about Creighton for a second? Are you aware of what's happening with the Creighton Blue Jays?
I'm aware that people, once again, are willing to overlook anything surrounding a program for success. Because with Creighton, with Arizona State, you know what I mean? Like no one cares about, or Kansas, no one cares about all the other stuff going on with the bubble of conversation. Everyone cares about, are they playing good basketball? Are they winning the game? This is what college basketball is. And Creighton's playing great basketball. And now they're the dark horse team.
Zagorowski, Marcus Zagorowski, Michael
Zagorowski.
Carter Williams' brother.
Yes.
7 for 7 from the three-point line. I looked this up because I was...
The opposite of Michael Carter Williams. Again, we need the Ancestry.com to see if they were actually brothers because there's no way Michael Carter Williams could have ever done that in any game. But we love him. Great triple-double.
I looked this up because you watch Creighton enough and you're like, I mean, they got Tyshawn Alexander, Mitchell Ballack. They got these guys who could score, and you watch them enough that
Tyshawn Alexander sounds like a Kansas great player that just came together, like a Tyshawn Taylor, Cliff Alexander, small forward, a point guard and a big man.
A very forgettable year, but he also put up 18 and
like a
7.
Dedrick Lawson type year. You're like, that guy's awesome. I think.
Forgot about that guy. Tyshawn Alexander. Yeah, he had a hell of a year on the 2014 Kansas team.
Yeah, man. I thought they were gonna make it run.
So I had this suspicion, and I looked it up. I did the fact checking myself. Creighton has 4 guys on their roster, Tate, who have scored 30 points in a game in their career before. 4 times. So they have 4 guys who can give you 30 on any given night. Those guys are Zagorowski, Alexander Ballack, and Denzel Mahoney, who I haven't mentioned yet. But all 4 of those guys, Mahoney transferred, and I forget where he came from, but he scored 30 at his old school. The point is, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty
When you have 4 guys that can score 30 points, they absolutely lit up Butler. They are on fire. They're ranked 10th in the country. I tweeted as I was watching the Butler game. I was flipping back and forth between Maryland, Ohio State, and the Butler Creighton game. And I tweeted this, and I believe it to be true, that Creighton is the best team in the country by far, that literally 0 people will put in their Final Four in their bracket. Because that is kind of where we've arrived to. Because at the same time, I'm cognizant of what Creighton is doing. I see that they completely blew out Butler. I see that they're on a roll. I see that they're right there in the Big East race. And yet, when I get my bracket and Creighton is the 3 seed, they're losing in the second round of my bracket. I'm 100% making
because they're playing UCLA.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, I love that UCLA team.
Yeah.
They're tough. We got to pull for them. Yeah. I do find it funny. I kind of felt the opposite. I saw everyone kind of jump on the bandwagon of Creighton from this weekend, which I always find fascinating. Like, who was watching college basketball on Saturdays? And then you see the opinions of the large, like Seth Davis and Dick Vitale coming in and just being like, hold the presses, folks. UCLA basketball is back. You know what I mean? It's like those moments where it's like this one day, this one moment.
I swear some of these guys, there's
a
website somewhere that just have an active win or loss streak.
For Blue Bloods.
And you just click on sort by best. And then whatever has the top win streak, you're like, all right, I'll pick that team. And then you tweet I really love what
Stephen F. Austin is doing. Love that team. They're rolling.
Don't look now, but Sienna's on a roll. They won, and you're like, there's no way you're actually following this. The only guy I believe that follows it is
Rothstein.
He's the only guy that's actually
it's a lock. And you think that we planned that to say at the same time? Absolutely not. We just know that if any man is watching Stony Brook play this weekend, it's John Rothstein. 100%.
I was waiting for you to bring it up. You did not. So now I have to do the unfortunate thing of bringing it up myself. The Buckeyes are back, Tate.
Oh, okay.
I mean, for God's sakes.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I get, what are we, like an hour into this thing and you're
well,
not going to say it? Like,
what is the role of this program? I do not watch Mark Turgeon basketball. And so I don't watch Maryland play. I don't have any time for that. I like to, these are precious moments, you know, on this earth, and I will not waste them watching that. But congratulations to the Buckeyes. Congratulations to my Nojo Eastern of your team, Luther Muhammad.
We should do, this is a great bit that we should do the Nojo Eastern of every team.
Yeah.
Like the guy that
I believe
you saw for 3 minutes, you said that guy's an All-American.
Leaky Black. Oh, North Carolina. Lock it in, All-American. But I don't understand why is it coming to fruition. You know what I mean? That's my new thing. It's like, how do I get him there? Luther Muhammad, he got there. I don't know why. I guess he was watching Mark Turgeon coach, and he was like, I can beat that guy.
Yeah.
This will be the day. What do you have, 22 points?
Yeah, 22. He was hot from 3, playing good defense. Wiggins was going off for Maryland, but Jalen Smith and I have a good game. Cowan was not playing well, but then he was about to, Tate. That was the thing. Excuse me. All the Maryland fans
we'll call that the mellow Trimble. It looked really good. It looked like it was going to happen. Yes.
And then he got the technical foul, the bogus technical that all the Maryland fans were losing their minds. And they said that even though Ohio State was kicking their ass the entire game and was up 14 in the second half.
That changed momentum.
If you've been watching Maryland this year, Tate, they get down a lot and then they come back and win.
That's what they do.
They were about to flip the switch.
That's
and
Terrapin basketball. That is Terrapin basketball to a T.
They purposely suck, and then they don't suck anymore.
Yes.
And unfortunately, the refs got in the way and wouldn't let Cowan cook like he was going to. And that's the takeaway for Maryland fans. And to that I say, maybe don't be down by a lot.
You know what I appreciate from Maryland fans is the perseverance. You know what I mean? Because like I'm like, Kansas basketball is the best team in the country. Kansas is number 1. You know this. And you see the replies from people, and people are like, what about Gonzaga? What about Dayton? Then I saw some Illinois fans, and I'm kind of like, obviously not you guys, but I love it. I love it. So Illinois fans, we'll throw them in there. Never will you see a Maryland fan stick their neck out. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's a turtle thing. Or I don't know what it is. But they will not stick their neck out for Mark Turgeon. I agree with them for not doing that. And they know, and you know, and I know, and Mark Turgeon knows that they're not going to do anything.
But I will say this.
But
okay, go
I
ahead.
like this team more than their other teams.
This is my favorite Mark Turgeon team ever.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know I don't know if that means anything, but that's
in a world where Mick Cronin has brought UCLA basketball back. I do not doubt that Mark Turgeon can revive Maryland basketball.
I do love how much Maryland fans seem to be into winning the Big Ten. Like, this is a big deal to them, which is great for the Big Ten because there's still like the element of Maryland and Rutgers don't belong. It's not because they're not good. It just doesn't feel right. Yeah, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, we know.
And for Maryland, they're
bring Rutgers to the ACC. Bring Maryland to the ACC. And get them home. Like, get them where they belong. That's where they should be. And then trade maybe some other teams out of the ACC.
Maryland is up,
Pittsburgh, you can go back.
I believe Maryland's up 2 games in the Big Ten race. But they're in first place by themselves. They have a 2-game lead. And they're right there. They're probably going to win the Big Ten. And it warms my heart that it matters to them. It matters to the fans that they want to win the Big Ten. Because that is something I feel like the Big Ten.
These are new age Maryland fans.
The Big
Where's
Ten,
Pete Rosenberg? Get him to talk about what Maryland fans want.
Big
not
Ten
the Big Ten.
Is the only conference in the country where like winning the Big Ten matters to the Big Ten.
To the Big Ten,
yeah. Like honestly,
to the people to the members.
Like you can win the Big Ten and lose in the first round of the tournament and be like, hell of a year for us. We did it. We won the Big Ten. So for Maryland to feel that way, for Maryland fans to already be in a position where they're like,
well, maybe Maryland is a Big Ten team.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to win the Big Ten, and then we're going to lose in the second round. But it's going to be a hell of a year. That is a Big Ten mindset. Welcome to the Big Ten, Maryland. You're officially in the Big Ten.
Come on, Maryland. You can do it.
You did it.
Yeah, win the Big Ten.
But the Buckeyes are also back. Let's not lose sight of the most important thing.
We don't want to talk about Maryland. We'll talk about
the Buckeyes are also back.
Congratulations, Coach Holtman.
Anything else before we go?
Honestly, I just want to shout out the fact that we didn't watch this together, but the Kobe tribute was here today, and it was a beautiful scene with so many people there that were giving their appreciation for Kobe. So many great speeches. Michael Jordan, I'm a North Carolina fan. I'm a Michael Jordan fan. I've seen him speak at a lot of public events, and boy, has he never delivered. Like he's always been a really bad. He gets like really nervous, starts licking his mouth. He just looks like he doesn't want to be there. And it was to watch him there in that moment actually have those real emotions live in the Staples Center in front of such a crowd. It was a beautiful moment. So I just want to shout that out.
Acknowledging the crying Jordan meme. That was
yes,
cool.
Acknowledging the meme. People were excited about that. But it was cool because I think if you asked Kobe Bryant what's the one thing he always wanted, it was for Michael Jordan to actually acknowledge that he was his little brother. And for him to say that, I thought that was a cool moment.
Yeah. Also, yeah, I agree. I want to shout out Murray State for blowing a 27-point lead with 11 minutes. Changing gears a little bit.
Yeah. Now let's go to the Racers.
Murray State blowing a 27-point lead with 11 minutes to play at Eastern Illinois. And Eastern Illinois won in regulation. They were down 27 with 11 minutes left, Tate.
That is not Racer basketball.
They were also down 24 with like less than 8 and down 15, if I believe, with 3.5 to play. So it wasn't like...
Where's John Morant when you need him?
Yeah.
That's all they're saying to themselves.
It was bad. I want to shout out our good friend Robbie Hummel, who was inducted into the Purdue Basketball Hall of Fame, joining legends such as my mom.
Yes, Laura Titus.
He finally got into the Hall of Fame. I want to say this now because Robbie's going to come on the show at some point. He's been saying that for 3 years. I want to say this now so that because I know he won't actually hear it if I say it now. If I wait till he's here, then he'll actually hear it. Robbie's awesome. I'm a big fan of his. He deserves it. He's a great dude. I really really like him, and that's the only nice thing I'll ever say about him because he's not going to hear that. So there you go.
He'll never listen to that. But we should point out that Robbie Hummel was supposed to come on this podcast. I mean,
I've lost track.
Lost track and multiple times, and he always says, "I'll do it in L.A." And he's never in LA. He's never around. We see him at the Final Four every year. We work with him at the Final Four.
Right.
We do a show with him live on the air where he has a microphone where he can just start recording.
We should just do it this year on the air live. Like as we're doing the 3-on-3 thing. We should do the podcast on the air there.
Best case scenario is that Ice Cube, who hates the FIBA 3, whatever they call themselves, the 3-on-3 people that play in FIBA, the world team.
Right.
That's Robbie Hummel's team. I don't think he's the captain, but he's the quote unquote best player. Ice Cube hates that team.
Yeah.
So I want to make that beef. I want to light that.
Open invitation to Ice Cube to come to Atlanta.
Join us. Explain why the Big Three is better. Yeah. Yes, than anything FIBA could ever produce, including their best player.
Join us on stage, and let's all talk shit on Robbie Hummel together.
Yes. And he'll drink Fireball. We'll shoot the Fireball. We'll change the 3x3U.
I also want to shout out my dog Moses, who
a legend.
Famously on Friday made his pick. He picked one game. He abstained from the Georgia-Texas A&M game, I believe, right?
Yes.
But he did pick the Bryant-St. Francis game.
Bryant.
He picked Bryant to win, Tate. Bryant won at St. Francis. They go on an 18-5 run to win the game. That in and of itself is kind of noteworthy. But the most important note of this game, Bryant has never won in the history of their program. They have never won at St. Francis. This is a rivalry dating back 100 years. They have. I'm just making that.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say honestly, congratulations.
They probably joined conferences like 2 years ago, whatever. But they had never ever won at St. Francis, and then Moses picked them to win, and then they won at St. Francis. So
Moses
we're
again,
onto something.
A wise dog.
I also want to shout out this grandma from Ole Miss. Did you see this video?
The putt.
The 94-foot putt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then who is Jim Cunningham, a friend of the program? He sent us the Shooter McGavin. Happy learned how to putt. That's always good.
Oh God,
good to see that.
Oh man, she made the 94-foot putt, and as the ball was rolling along, Jay Billis was walking with someone who was asking questions.
Yep.
He was walking next to the ball asking, so coffee or tea?
Red or blue?
Which one of the Migos is your favorite?
Also, shout out. Can I shout out Kobe White? Back-to-back 33-point games.
Please do.
I just have to say that because there's a lot of people in the NBA that they pick their favorites early on and they don't watch these other guys and they disregard them and they're like, "You're not Donovan Mitchell. I don't care what you do." And I'm not one of those people. I'm like, I believe that there was a learning curve. I feel like you figured out. Kobe White back-to-back 33-point games. First guy with the Bulls do that since, you guessed it, Michael Jordan.
My final shout out, Sabrina Ionescu, Oregon basketball, 2,000 points, 1,000 assists, 1,000 rebounds. Sort of a Michael Strahan.
1,000 different ways to say her last name.
Yep. Sabrina Ayahuasca. Sort of a Michael Strahan, Brett Favre situation with her 1,000 rebound that gave her the threshold, but she's going to get it anyway, so like who cares? But it was an air ball. I'm not saying, I'm not accusing, but my God, did that Stanford girl like throw the ball right to her, like just right to her, like it was it wasn't even close to hitting the rim.
But let's be honest, if you're playing for Stanford, you know she's one rebound away. I'm missing that shot.
Yeah, so you can be.
She's getting my rebound.
Exactly.
Like, that was my miss.
That's what I'm saying. This was all.
I'm in that picture.
This
like,
was all.
Getty, give me that picture.
Yes. This was all orchestrated along with Archie Miller punting the clipboard. Or punching the clipboard.
Look, guys, this is all entertainment. This is nothing else but entertainment.
Speaking of entertainment, you want to do your James Harden travel rant before we get out of here?
Honestly, I mean,
you're over it.
Look, I'm not upset. I'm just saying I've never in my entire life ever been at any sort of basketball place where people are playing basketball, playground, YMCA, college, high school, anywhere, elementary school, recess. I've never in my life heard anyone be like, "Oh, that's just a gather step."
That's a gather step, yeah.
Never in my life has anyone ever said that ever. And if you did say that, you might get your ass whooped. You might. And honestly, nobody can defend you because you said it was a gather step. Because it's a travel and it's turnover. And give us the ball.
You better gather your steps and get the hell out of here.
Get out of here. So, and I say all that to say that it is in the rules. The rules were presented to me. Kevin O'Connor, a friend of ours, he tweeted out the rules. I looked up the rules to confirm that he didn't type this up on Word doc and then put it out. There is actually a gather step in the NBA rulebook. I don't know when they put it in, but they should have let everybody know. That's what I'm upset about.
I was going to give the backstory to this, which is because Tate comes in tonight. We're watching the Big Monday, and Tate just comes into the room just hot. He's just absolutely hot.
I just don't understand.
And KOC had tweeted the clip of Harden against the Jazz.
The NBA world was aflame. Yes.
The 3-step Euro step, and then KOC is carrying water for the NBA as he does.
Yes.
Come defend yourself, KOC. Come on the show and defend yourself. And he's saying it's not a travel, and here's why. And Tate was hot. Tate was like, we gotta drag KOC on the show tonight. So I'm with you.
If Reggie Bush, a football player, says that's a good juke, that's a good football move. That's a nice come on. That's not basketball.
It used to be we've all been taught it a million times. You pick the ball up. When you pick the ball up, if your foot is on the ground, that is your pivot foot.
No one has ever taught me about a gather step. And in fact, if I had the gather step, I might be playing right now.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna catch me.
Out there going like that.
I'll be bouncing all over the place. No way. That's all I have to say about it. And it's okay. I'm not mad at James Harden. I'm not mad at anybody. Get your money, get your buckets, do all that. But we all know. And whoever wrote that rule in, you're done. You're done. We're done with you. Admit
that's my whole point is okay, fine.
Release the tapes.
It might not be a travel technically, but change
sure.
the rule. Change the rule back. Because it's clearly
they already changed it.
I know.
That's the messed up part. They already changed it. They didn't tell anybody.
Not my basketball.
Yeah, that's not my game. Bring back the ABA.
All right. Anything else? That's it. That's the show. All right. We'll be back on Thursday. We are going to we'll be in San Diego State tomorrow. Or today, if you're listening to this, it's already Tuesday.
Yes, Tuesday.
If you're hearing this, it's too late.
Yes,
it's already Tuesday.
Yes, we're here.
We are going to the Colorado State San Diego State game to watch the Aztecs clinch an undefeated season.
To save their season, right?
To save their season, yeah. If you really think about it, if you're a coach, you say each game is like its own season.
1-0.
You're trying to go 1-0 every season. So we're gonna watch them have an undefeated season tomorrow, and beat Colorado State. And then Thursday and Saturday we're going to be in Pauley Pavilion.
Yes, we're gonna see the hottest team in the country.
We're gonna see.
And let me just say this: whenever I watch UCLA, never have I ever thought that's the hottest team in the country.
Well, you're about to. On Thursday and Saturday, we're going to see it in person, and we're going to try to sneak into the post-game press conference, so keep your eyes peeled for that.
What will Mick Cronin say to the haters, a.k.a. us?
But we will see you guys Friday. That's it. See ya.
See you Friday.
For the best access, perspective, and personalities in all of sports, follow us at Fox Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.